I drop a 10 in it, bitch. We tryna win in this shit. Yeah. Hey.
Said a man couldn't get what she needs, so the fall's the best on the league. Everything is on me, she pull up in the X, I took off in the Z. Put all of my dogs on their feet, now they stand on their two, took them off of the leash. Heard your dog bit the cheese, it cost nothing to get in the talk, it was cheap. Double out Phantom, 3,500 my Dana. All my bitches are trophies. I hang them all in a mantle. She got a toe like a camel, keeping it wax like a candle. Now fucking her random, said it is sweet, and I want to sample. Nail it to this bed when I whip out this hammer. She be my bites when I handle the smoke. Have my dick in her mouth for my pants at the flow. She know it ain't sweet 30, hang out the stick. It be long as it let make it stand by the door. Yeah, she like my 40, she hang on my hip. Shorty's nature is naughty, she think about this. Should've watched all the words before they came out your lip. We gon' choke till we blue in the face like a crib. Caught your bitch out there, hey, that's a pick off. Shoot your hair like the deal that you signed, get it ripped off. Still gonna make the bitch jump like a tip off. If it's up, it's gon' stay in the air like a kick off. Acrobat dope, it gon' flip off the stove. NBA with these hoes, when I pick them, they roll. Headshot, leaving shit all on the road. The trunk full of bitches and all of them go. Said a man couldn't get what she needs, so the fall's the best time to leave. Everything is on me, she pull up in the X, I took off in the Z. Put all of my dogs on their feet, now they stand on their two, took them off of the leash. Heard your dog with the cheese, it was nothing to get him to talk, it was cheap. Say he stand on the business, let's sit him down. Shit, we gon' land in the day, then we send him out. He double back for the work, that's an end around. He do not keep all that here, let's go in the town. Open the trunk in a minute. Duffel bag look like a stuff with a midget. Double up 44 bricks, cause the last time we ran through the 22 bursts like he Emmett. Got the digital scales for the digits. Grease on the pass, can I smell what is in it? We spin it at midnight, he can't tell who hit him. And diamonds ain't sticking, can't tell if he missing. Get the Russian like it's coffee. If I make a call, they flying in like rockets. Houston, Texas, T, it got me flick the wrist. I whip it still up all like hard. Counting numbers like a mathematician. All the verses jumping out the magic kitchen. Trappers getting it, keep the ratchet with me. We gon' drag them stripping down like Magic City. She get the geek and start to tweak it. Really feed the dick until she overdose. Coast to coast where the money goes. Up and down when she on the pole. Said a man couldn't get what she needs, so the fall's the best on the league. Right now, everything is on me. She pull up in the X, I took off in the Z. Put all of my dogs on their feet, now they stand on their two, took them off of the leash. Heard your dog bit the cheese, it was nothing to get him to talk, it was cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what the fuck it is, nigga. G motherfucking Liddy.
Yeah. What is going on? It's got a late start. I went to sleep at 4 in the morning. It's late. Let me turn this down. Went to sleep at 4 in the morning. Was up studying and researching and watching let's see. Y'all know the eviction show by Mr. Penn, Ortho Penn, that's out of Memphis, and he's the process servicer for people that's getting evicted. I'll be watching a lot of his. It's entertainment. It's not entertainment like I'm watching because I like to see people get evicted. It's not that. It's just I just be watching it, but a lot of times with that is a lot of people like to go the route like, oh, I didn't receive anything. I wasn't served. And like I said, they get 3 attempts. And on the 3rd attempt, they tape it to your door. And that's considered you being served. So whatever. But I find interesting in Mr. Penn. I like his channel. So today we went live Friday. It was the panel up here. Yeah, crypto girl up here. She went to the bank and they hit her with the Kembe Mutombo rejection. They rejected her at the rim for deposit she was trying to make. But it was an exchange that we had. And I believe that exchange was very important because it really summed up a lot of things that happened in these spaces. Now, most people like to focus on the paperwork aspect of it. I mean, they're so motivated to start pushing paperwork, shooting paperwork. But the problem I see when we just jump straight to paperwork without proper understanding, we run the risk of missing important information. And then it's like, you always got to go back and resend it, refile it, re-add this to it, add that to it. And to be honest with you, it's kind of like it will have you running in circles. You're moving, but you're not really going anywhere. And the results that often happen from the lack of full understanding of the system in which we operate, it leads to you sending out all these paperwork, and in the process, taking a lot of unnecessary steps, a lot of energy being spent, a lot of money spent on stamps, and we kind of start to expect certain outcomes that if we had the full understanding and took our time to understand before we sent these documents out, we will understand that the expected outcomes was probably not going to come. So a lot of people think that that's an issue with the paperwork. Well, I might have missed this and then add this. And the issue is not with the paperwork itself. The issue is in the lack of understanding of the totality of the situation, so you could present the paperwork in a manner that you could potentially get the results you're looking for. Now, we've highlighted it a lot. It's been talked about through great lengths that a majority of these processes, we want to call them, they always center around, no matter how it's worded, no matter which path you go, it don't matter. It all gets back to the same position where you are going to submit some documents, express some form of a trust, and that is going to allow you to walk away with the goods or services without having to actually really pay for it. Okay? That's the ballpark. Now, I think it's dangerous for teachers to sell or teach anything that could potentially have the student being financially irresponsible. Or let's just say that teacher was successful in leaving with goods and services without having to pay for it. Let's just say that teacher was. That is not going to be the same treatment every time, every person that walks through their door, just because they allow this person the type of relationship they have with that person. That was their person. That is not a guarantee that you're going to be able to duplicate it. It's just no guarantee. But when you're in the game, like the video I had last night, when you are in the game, then all the rules to the game applies to you, no matter who you are. It applies to all of us. So it was a good exchange, but I think it was very key to the point that I've been trying to make. And We're going to queue it up. Let's queue it up. Hold on. Conversation to the purchase order aspect of it. We get to the purchase order aspect of it. Now, with the purchase order aspect of it, right? I put a video out about that. Corey B, she put a video out about that, exposing Tamika that although she got a purchase order, and a purchase order, you can get a purchase order faxed to you. As I'm going to highlight in this exchange, that a purchase order is nothing but a fancy way of saying, hey, I'm going to get this vehicle outright, and I'm going to wire you the money for it. You take the purchase order to your bank, and the bank is going to wire the money for you. But the common denominator, the key ingredient in this process is that you still have to have money in your account in order to do it. Most people gravitate towards the purchase order because it was sold to them that they'll be able to buy the same vehicle, but they don't have to use money. Now, if people, that sounds enticing to people who can't afford the vehicle or whose credit score, who doesn't apply, whatever situation is that restricts them from purchasing the vehicle outright by walking in the bank, cutting the check, and leaving. So when you're not in that position, these purchase order classes, these pay with a bill of exchange classes, these alternative methods of paying are enticing. Regardless of the fact that these are worthless instruments people are tendering, regardless of the fact that it's not going to work, it's still enticing. And people need to believe it because some people are in certain situations where they have no other choice. But the moral of the story is, don't ever put yourself in that vulnerable position if you can control it. Don't even be in a position anyway where you have to rely on someone telling you you can buy this without money. Don't even be in the position from the beginning. So let's start right here at the 5-hour 14 mark. Let's just go back a little bit. Let's go right here. Report the transaction to the IRS. You don't have to do all that anymore. Just you ain't got to go back and forth. Play stupid. Let them use your credit. We already know. The IRS knows this. They got regulations talking about it all day. Play stupid. I think within 15 days of the close of the transaction, if you're doing a transaction the same day, the transaction opens, it closed the same day. Short transaction, short sale. Backdoor them and go straight to the IRS on them.
Yeah, because a special deposit's not going to work with the bank and endorsing. It's not going to work.
You hear that? Special deposit. You do not achieve a special deposit outside of an agreement with the bank. There has to be a written agreement. Want to know why? Because that's changing the legal relationship from a debtor-creditor relationship, which is the standard relationship between banks and individuals and businesses. And that's being changed to a bailor-bailee relationship. That has to be in writing. You can't achieve special deposits just by endorsements. Because if you're in a special deposit, it's used for a specific reason why you're making a special deposit. It's more like a safekeeping of the bank. It's like a special deposit box where they don't commingle the assets or the book value asset. Special deposits are not really used to achieve certain types of transactions. Special deposits are just you're entrusting the bank in the custody of this asset or property, and it's not to be commingled. Then when you ask for the property back, it must be returned to you. You know, so that's the special deposit is. It's not something that's going to, I don't know what people think it's going to turn into.
Work. So the
It's
proxy,
not necessary.
yeah, the
It's not
proxy
necessary.
will,
But it's
right,
not necessary.
use the proxy to get the car.
But
The all cap
it's
proxy.
not necessary. It said, use the proxy to get the car. The all caps proxy. No matter how you slice the cake, she is still, no matter if she's going to admit it publicly, but her root belief, no matter what she does, the root belief is always that the Social Security account is going to pay for it, meaning she doesn't have to use her own money. That's the root belief for a lot of them, whether they call themselves sovereign citizens or not. The paperwork that they send, the documents that they submit, the claims that they make, the notice of interest, all that, it's still rooted around some type of capturing of a Treasury trust fund account in your name. Now, you can use your proxy to get the car. Yeah, you can use your proxy to get it. Now, when I mean proxy, let's get out the fish. Yeah, bitch, you can tell. What the hell? But when we mean proxy to get the car, I'm talking about the car being in the proxy's name, not anything outside of that. IRS pulling the credit from the so-called lender's tax return and refunding the borrower. Now, I don't think y'all heard that, but I'm going to go back just in case you didn't. Between time, then I sit back and wait for them to finish this process. Because it's kind of like you can know enough, but you don't want to let them know you know too much when they don't even want to do business with you. Because every proper claim, whether it's mortgage, auto, credit card, every proper claim has never been disputed by any financial institution, any finance company, or any bank. Want to know why? Because they're never losing nothing. They got investment credits, they got business credits, they got all types of credits that the IRS. As you can see, they just processed my amended return. Well, still, your account was adjusted on November 1st, 2024. Within 3 weeks, you will receive a notice that explains the adjustment. It was first submitted September 2023. When they scanned it in, the agent scanned it in poorly, so they couldn't read the entries. So they sent it back to be rescanned. It was rescanned on December 4th, 2023. December 4th, 2023. And it was adjusted November 1st of this year. And I'll be receiving a notice in 3 weeks. I done forgot what the 2022 was because it was so long. So I got to look at my files and see what amended return I filed. But these amended returns are the longest. I try to stay away from. I don't file amended return unless I absolutely have to. Is going to use to refund you. That's how people get refunds. Is when they pull the credit from the finance company's tax return or their consolidated tax return. Right there. That's how you get refunded. That's strictly from the congressional record of the Ways and Means Committee on how this new method of withholding and other things would work. So my question is this: how is it that on the congressional record, which established the law and the regulations the IRS go by, they say that your refund, if the corporation is the obligor to the individual, your refund will come after you send your statement and receipts and they compare it with the statement and receipts of the corporation. And then they will refund you based off their tax return when they're going to pull the credit from their tax return to refund you. That's black and white IRS. That's not my way. That's black and white. So why are people still thinking that there's a secret trust fund account or trying to file a return any other way? So in order for the corporation to be the obligor to you, you have to have the fucking finance contract with them or the mortgage or the credit card. You have to be in the game. It's no way around it. No way around it. It's no way around it. But we wonder why everybody keeps hitting the roadblock, because we're not fully researching and understanding. We're moving on half truths mixed with belief systems and are expecting the most grandiose outcomes, which has not happened in the rate compared to how many people run across these spaces daily and refund you. Successful people who gets the proceeds from their auto, credit card, mortgage refunded to them, it never came out of a trust fund account. They had a trust fund account. It never came out of an account associated with their social security number. Versus it never came from it. It came from the IRS pulling the credit from the so-called lender's tax return and refunding the borrower. And that's important to know that fact, because it can kind of get your mindset adjusted to the fact that maybe I need to focus on what my position is in this transaction versus all the documents I'm gonna put together. That's a good thing. So what I'm gonna do right now for everybody, because if you want to have an open, I'm really interested in what whoever want to come on the channel, what do you have to what your take is. I'm gonna drop the link. If you want to come up, just hit the link. I'll give you a second to hit the link. If you want to come up, give about about 30 seconds, because it's really the mindset cannot be overlooked. The mindset cannot be overlooked. It cannot be overlooked. The understanding of your position in this transaction cannot be overlooked. I cannot stress it enough. And the IRS is very clear. The regulations are very clear. And if you step outside those regulations due to your own belief system or just lack of knowledge of these regulations, you're still accountable for it. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. There's no, oh, I said there's something frivolous. Oh, I just made a mistake. Let me just go ahead and send something. No, it doesn't. No. Oh. Please, y'all. Together, because if we could put all these documents together, but if these documents are not expressing our position correctly for federal tax purposes, it's kind of a waste.
Yeah, that was exhausting, Crypto. Oh, they have to go to the bank.
It was an experience. And
But here's the thing. She said it's an experience. The problem is we got to stop these experiments because that's all it is. If you don't have the full understanding, we got to stop just trying this and then that don't work. I'm just going to try this. I don't work. I'm going to try this now. That don't work. I'm going to try. When do we just stop? When do we stop and say, you know what? Let me take in all the pertinent information and facts before I move. Where is the patience? There is no patience with this. This don't work. I'm out. Send off other documents. Try this. It's like it's just constantly on automatic, robotic like movements. There's no stop. Because if you tried at least 5 different processes, didn't work. At some point, you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, what am I doing wrong? Because you can't just follow instructions your way to this. You got to be able to use some type of discernment. Your teacher might say it this way, but you may discover that although he went this way, I'm going to take certain elements that he went this way, but I think I'm going to go this way, but I'm still in the same confines. But I think my situation is more, I'm going to present it like this. Like everybody can't present it the same thing, the same words, the same numbers. It can't all be the same persons.
But I need to know how to do the default swap, the backdoor. I need to create that.
A default swap. Creating a default swap. She's not even a licensed security broker to even do that. Oh, you'll never get on that side.
Oh, come on, man. The master pulling in insurance agreement. Come on, man.
Not letting you on that side, girl.
Come on.
Not letting you on that side.
Man, I'm going to tell him who I know. Look, Tom Flakes, y'all.
You sounded just like Joe.
Like
who?
Joe Byron. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
I mean, like I said, the path of least resistance is the route I like to go. But think about it. Crypto, they send you a check for your auto, based on your debt instrument. The next year, you take all that portion of it, pay off your auto for a year. At the end of the year, you just do it again. But notice how I'm giving advice on financial responsibility in the process. Why not pay it off for the whole year so you don't have to worry about them? And then rinse and repeat. Why take all the money and do elsewhere? It's over with. See what I'm saying?
You know, I do have a purchase order with Porsche.
And this is where we get to it. Oh, where? Here goes the purchase order. Purchase order used to refund you. That's how people get refunds. Is when they pull the credit from the finance company's tax return or their consolidated tax return and refund you. Successful people. He said, what do you mean when you say IRS pulling the credit from the so-called lender's tax return and refunding the bond? And that's important to know that fact, because it could kind of get your mindset adjusted to the fact that maybe I need to focus on what my position is in this transaction versus all the documents I'm going to put together. Because if we could put all these documents together, are not expressing our position correctly for federal tax purposes, it's kind of a waste.
Yeah, that was exhausting crypto. All they had to go to the bank.
It was an experience, and I but I need to know how to do the default swap, the backdoor. I need to create that.
Oh, see that? That comes for she gets a little bit of knowledge. Now she wants to start moving again. She doesn't fully understand credit default swaps and default swaps and this and insurance and all the underlinings that happen. She just heard them talk about it. And someone always, this is how they get you. It's yours. You can claim it. You can have it. You can issue something against it. It's yours, yours, yours. And as soon as they hear that it's something that belongs to them and it's some form of monetary value, or they can liquidate it into money, the only thing they're thinking is money, money, money. Now she wants to do that. She don't even have the process down pat of what she tried to do that night. See how quick they're ready just to start moving again? There's never no time for me just chill. Oh, you'll never get on that side.
Oh, come on, man. The master pulling in insurance agreement. Come on, man.
Not letting you on that side, girl.
Come on.
Not letting you on that side.
Man, I'm gonna tell him who I know. Look, Tom Flakes, y'all.
Now you sounded just like Joe.
Like
who?
Joe Byron. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
I mean, like I said, the path of least resistance is the route I like to go. But think about it. Crypto, they send you a check for your auto based on your debt instrument. The next year, you take all that portion of it here, you just do it again.
You know, I do have a purchase order with them.
There we go. Pay attention. Remember, Tamika already scammed her clients with the purchase order. But what all these other teachers do, they'll hear something in another group, then go back and try to sell the same thing to their group, like Jonah Bay. She learned the purchase order from Jonah Bay. Now, I done clipped this up and made shorts of it, so y'all check out the shorts. But let's just hear and watch how this plays out.
Porsche. So
well, and before I go, I don't mean to get interrupted. Remember, the purchase order is for a Porsche. Why couldn't it be for a $30,000, $40,000 car? You see? The reason why, because if she actually knew that purchase order, you would still have to pay cash money for it, then she would have never picked out a Porsche. She'd have picked out something that is in her means. Just like when these people do these processes with a credit score of 510, but they're getting contracts for $2 million homes because they think, I don't have to pay for it, so let me go big or go home. But if they actually had to put the down payment down and meet the lending requirements, do you think a lot of people in these spaces will be picking out $1 million homes?
what's the
Yeah, what do you mean when you say it? I don't know what you're talking about. I need some context. Purchase order or an installment agreement?
purchase order? No one's
purchase order. Once again, she thinks that the purchase order is going to create some form of a debt, and then you set off the debt with the straw man account, which all pretty much is saying, I have secret funds in a government trust fund that's going to pay for this vehicle. That's all it's really saying. They go that Tamika shit.
Huh?
Red flag.
No, no, I'm not.
Yes, it
No,
is.
I'm not.
Hey, that's the
Don't
teacher.
say shit.
That's
That's the teacher. Yep, it came out.
Don't say that.
Told on herself.
No, I don't know who
The
that
truth
is.
game. And just because she don't know who Tamika is, and she got it from Jonah Bay, the underlying sentiment is still there. It's the same sentiment. You're going to drive off this lot with a vehicle that you didn't have to pay with your hard-earned money. That's the only thing they can use to get people to join their shit, because they have nothing else to offer them. Because the teachers themselves don't even have the full understanding of the system from their side, not from our side, from their side as well.
I don't know who Tamika. Never
Cap.
seen.
Tamika.
I don't know who that is. Seen one of her videos. I swear to God.
Students, they're just using that money to pay for the vehicle outright, and then coming back and saying, look, I got this vehicle with just a purchase order. But they're not telling you they actually still have to use their own money to pay for it. That's the scam. That's the trick. That's the show. Show up with some materialistic possessions and then let you know that I got it from what I teach, instead of letting you know the true source of that possession. And all people got to do is see something materialistic and put a process to it, and they're all in. They'll spend money they don't even have to spend. They'll spend money that they can't afford to take a loss on. They will spend their last in order to get some type of materialistic possession that they don't have to pay for.
Okay, now it comes up.
Listen, that works. I spoke in trust with them. They sent me the purchase order.
Hold on, what works? What works?
See, that's how their mindset is. They think because you spoke in trust and got a purchase order that the process somehow works. And in her words, all she got to do is just sign off. You know what that means? What she's really saying is, now what do I do? Because I'm not paying for it cash. Now I got to find a way to pay for it cash. But if Jonah Bay taught you how to get the purchase order, why didn't he show you how to get the vehicle without the use of money? Right. That's the scam. They give you a little bit of information, and then as soon as it gets down to the X's and O's of execution, they have nothing of value for you. She believes in her mind that the purchase order process worked because she was able to obtain the purchase order because she said it was being purchased through a trust. When you can get a purchase order fax over the phone.
Purchase order works.
I know, purchase order with the trust, right? Right?
Yeah.
That's all you get is a purchase order. The car still has to be. No, dude. She thinks that since she got the purchase order, she gets the car with it. This is what she was taught by Jonah Bay. And they don't research what they're being taught. They just take it at face value. This is a classic example on why people are still stuck on first base in these spaces, because they're not doing any type of investigative research. They're just taking what the person says on face value because they're speaking the language they want to hear. Don't.
They already gave me the full amount of the car.
Right. You heard what she said? She's trying to defend it because she has to believe it. Of course, they're going to give you the full purchase price of the vehicle if you told them you're paying for the vehicle for the full price. You didn't go in there and get a finance where you got to pay monthly installments. No. Of course, they're going to, if I say, yo, I'm going to buy this Acura or this Audi flat out, they're not going to give me the installment payment price. They're going to give me the RSP. They're going to give me the actual full price. So by her stating, and this is just simple knowledge, simple understanding, but she's taking a simple understanding and turning it into some type of success. They stretch it. It means nothing that you got a purchase order. You still have to pay money, cash money for it. And the fact that she has the purchase order but still no vehicle is evidence of that fact. But pay attention to every time I'm hitting home on a point, she's going to do, and I'm cool with Crypto Girl, but this is a teaching lesson. Every time I hit home on a point, they all do it. They all try to say, well, no, I'm not doing that. Oh, no, but you know that's exactly what you're intending. But they don't want to come out and publicly admit it. Yes, you're trying to get the purchase order without use of cash. No, you don't. Because if that was the case, you would have had the vehicle because you would have been wired the money. Why would you need to sign off on a purchase order? I mean, take it to your bank, wire the funds, bam, you get the money. I mean, that is a very simple process. But the fact that she still doesn't have the vehicle is because she still believes that somewhere some secret money is going to pop up to pay for it. No. Oh my gosh.
They gave me the total. They gave me the what?
Okay, so what happened? What is this process? Let me hear this one. Since we know who your leaders.
Yeah, I already know how that process went, and it got exposed a bit. But go ahead, just go ahead.
Let me hear it.
There's nothing to hear. I contact. Well, long story short, Porsche.
I'm genuinely interested. I really am.
Okay,
like,
well, I got the purchase order with Porsche.
Okay.
I told them I'm going. This is coming out of the trust.
Coming out of the trust. This is why they get half information and they're missing about 80% else. Because she's being disingenuous. When she says it's coming out of a trust, the dealership believes that it's coming out of an actual trust account at the bank with actual currency in it under a trust name. She's not telling them the trust is going to be some straw man trust account at the Treasury. That's the disingenuous that they teach these students. They're teaching them to be disingenuous and be financially irresponsible. Although the students don't see that's what's taking place, but anyone who knows how to use independent thought can see right through it.
Okay, so you're trying to do a purchase with your trust.
Yeah, that's it. So they're just waiting for me to, sign off.
That translation, I'm trying to figure out a way to get funds from a secret, non-existent trust fund account to pay for it. Because if she had the money already in this trust account at a regular, normal bank, it just would have been a simple 24-hour wire transfer. So we know that's not happening that way, which is the normal way for purchase orders. So she's trying to figure out a way to extract funds from a non-existent account to pay for it. And this is what they teach their students. They're teaching them things that's never going. And yes, they're paying for this shit. What are they paying for? The belief that it can happen. There's no evidence that it happened for the teacher. There's no real results being shown. It's all music to their ears. That's how low the threshold is to being scammed in these spaces. And who are the people that's most subject to these scams? Are people who hear what they want to hear, and people who are in vulnerable positions, and people who don't meet the traditional requirements to go through there and get it done the correct, normal way.
That's all I'm going to say right now.
But you know what that means?
What?
It does. This is the part where these scam teachers like Jonah Bay, they're always trying to show you a way of buying things and paying shit without using money. There. Hit it right over the head. Right there. That's what they're all. That is the hallmark of it all. That is the hallmark of it all. That's the hallmark. That's it. And the students, they don't want to admit that because they hear people talk against it. So they're going to say, nah, that's not me. But their actions through their paperwork, that's exactly what they're trying to accomplish. Because why would she need to sign off on it? That is a very simple process. Why is it taking this long? Because she lacks sufficient funds already in the account to actually make the purchase from the trust.
No, you got to have a debt now. You got to
remember, she's saying you got to have a debt. She thinks the purchase order is creating a debt because this is a hallmark of these scam teachers. Create the debt and then discharge the debt under HJR 192 because somehow they took the gold from the people back in the day, which has nothing to do with you because you wasn't alive, and they never took your gold without giving you the equivalent form. Everybody's gold that was turned in back then, they got the equivalent form. So that argument fails. What else? And once that argument fails, they have nothing else. This is why none of these teachers will debate me. This is why these teachers won't never let me on their panels. This is why I've called all of them out and none of them has responded, because they know they don't have the sufficient data, facts, statistics, and evidence to back up what they're saying. And I don't even care about the results. What did you rely on? What regulations did you rely on? That's what I care about.
Put a deposit down. You got to put something.
No, we're not talking about a debt.
Okay.
No, that's not a debt. It's nothing but a purchase order. It's basically saying
but you have to put a deposit down. You got to put something down.
You see how that, you see, everything she's saying is not anything that she researched. Everything she's saying, she's just regurgitating what she was told. That's the problem. You're taking information what they're telling you and just going with it like it's gold. She is so wrong right here, but she doesn't know it because the sovereign citizen bug is a very contagious bug. It has people denying that they're sovereign citizens, but all of their paperwork resembles the same rhetoric. But I'm not a sovereign citizen. It's not about who you say you are. It's about how you present your document being the sovereign citizen, but then all your paperwork, all the language, all the wordings, all the assertions are right along that fucking ideology. And this is where the delusion starts to set in.
I've never even seen one of her videos. Swear to God,
God.
never. Even Jonah Bay talks. I was like, I have no idea.
There's other teacher right there.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
Jonah. I just said Jonah.
Yep.
Listen, yeah.
So it's two of them.
Jonah
So you
Bay
learn.
taught me the purchase order. Yeah, the
Okay.
purchase.
Okay. Now it
purchase
comes
order.
out.
That's I
Now.
told you also
Listen,
that
that works.
that
I spoke in trust with them. They sent me the purchase order.
Hold
They
on.
said,
What works?
that's
What
listen,
works?
the
listen.
purchase order works.
I know
mean,
the purchase order
right.
with the trust, right? Right.
Yeah.
That's all you get is a purchase order. The car
You
still
get the
has to be.
car.
No, you don't.
They already gave me the full.
So once just to rehash, she thinks that you get the car with the purchase order, and all they did was just let you know how much the MSRP. That's how much it's going to cost you. It is no indication that they're giving you the keys and the title to it, but they have to stretch that. Look how far that it doesn't even apply. But see how they take half truths, misinformation, and try to stretch it.
Amount of the car.
No. Oh my gosh.
They gave me the total. They gave me the what?
Okay. So what happened? What is this process? Let me hear this one. Since we know who your leaders.
Yeah, I already know how that process went, and it got exposed for a bit. But go ahead. Just go ahead.
Let me hear it.
There's nothing to hear. I contact. Well, long story short, Porsche.
I'm genuinely interested. I really am.
Okay,
Like I
well, I
really
got
want
the
to.
purchase order with Porsche. I
Okay.
told them I'm going. This is coming out of trust.
Okay. So you're trying to do a purchase with your trust.
Yeah, that's it. So they're just waiting for me to, sign off. That's all I'm going to say right now.
You know what that means?
What?
It does. This is the part where these scam teachers like Jonah Bay, they're always trying to show you a way of buying things and paying shit without using money.
No.
That's it. But look at what she's going to say. She's going to say, no, that ain't it. When she knows that's exactly what she's trying to do. This is what I'm saying. The disingenuousness that they have these students being in. You know you're trying to use the purchase order to pay for the vehicle without money under the guise of I'm expressing the trust. It's coming from a trust account. You know you're not talking about a trust account that's at a bank that has money in it in a public trust account where you can make deposits and withdraw. It's not like you're taking that purchase order to your bank in the trust account's name and saying, hey, I need to wire $85,000 for this car. Okay, what's the wiring information? It's right here in the purchase order. And then they wire it between 24, 48 hours. They get it. The dealership calls you and say, hey, we received the money. Come pick up the vehicle. She knows she's not going that route. So why are you trying to defend that you're not trying to pay for it without the use of money? You know that's exactly what you're trying to do.
Oh, you got to have a debt now. You got to put a deposit down. You got to put something.
No. You got to put a debt down. You got to put a deposit down. Now, the only way you would put a deposit down if that vehicle is like a hot commodity and the funds won't clear till like another 2 days, and you be like, here's 10 grand to hold it. I'm real serious. Don't sell this to anyone else because I'm serious. Because if you get a purchase order, and then the next day, somebody walks into the dealership and say, I want that same vehicle. They're going to call you and be like, hey, somebody wants this now. Are you sure you buying this? Yeah. Here, I'm about to give you 10,000. Okay, we'll hold that for you. That 10,000 is basically saying, we're not going to sell this vehicle to no one else. We're going to lose money right now because we can sell it right now. But you're saying you're getting it. You gave us 10 grand. All right. We're going to sell this car to you. So anybody that wants to buy that same vehicle, they're going to be like, nah, this car is reserved. That's all deposit in that instance would even be. That's what I'm saying. These teachers are teaching people how to be financially irresponsible. They're teaching people to walk through life thinking that you can get goods and services without to pay for it. That purchase order thing has been debunked. Tamika has been exposed, and everybody else who tries to teach that, their students always come back feeling embarrassed, ashamed, and angry that they spent $1,500 to learn a process that's not going to bear them any fruits. And the IRS is clear. If the corporation is the obligor to the individual is going to attach its receipts in its statement explaining the transaction in detail. Then they're going to compare the receipts of the individual to the receipts of the corporation. This is directly from the Ways and Means Committee. The hearing on the Ways and Means, that's the committee. It was held from March 2nd, 1943 to April 5th, 1943. This was all about the withholding and other things. When Beardsley Rummel gave the speech in 1942 about withholding and how income taxes for government revenue is obsolete, it was based on that speech from Beardsley Rummel in 1942, the ex-chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the central bank of the United States government, where the Treasury General account is located. The next year, the United States implemented the federal withholding program, and that program has been running from 1943 till current today. Withholding is not only in a situation when you're getting issued a W-2. That's not the only situation when a withholding occurs. And the Ways and Means Committee from March 2nd to April 5th explained how an individual would get their refund against a corporate obligor is when they pull the credit from the corporation's tax returns and refunds the individual. That is the only way. There is not a secret Treasury trust fund account that you can file a 1099 to accomplish that. Your refund is going to come from the credit of the corporation's tax return. That is in black and white. That is congressional record. That is the law of the land. That is how it goes. Black and white. You cannot argue black and white. You cannot argue black and white. Let's keep going. No, we're not talking about a debt.
Okay.
No, that's not a debt. No, the purchase order doesn't create a debt. Let me say this again. If you believe that all you got to do is create a debt and then get it discharged through the United States government, and for everybody that's citing HJR 192, you have been misinformed. Want to know why you've been misinformed? Let's just walk it down. When they took the gold from the people under the executive order, April 1st, 1933, I believe, or March 1st, either March 1st or April 1st, 1933, everybody was required to turn in their gold and silver to prevent the hoarding and the runs on the banks. In exchange for their gold and silver, or gold coin or gold bullion, you was given legal tender in exchange. So although gold and silver was the main form to pay your debts, legal tender took its place. So now you can pay your debts with legal tender. The government did not take the gold and silver without giving you a way to pay your debts. Legal tender is just sufficient today, and we all know this in our everyday lives. When you're paying your water bill, your electric bill, or even buying stuff from the store, you're not giving them gold and silver. You're giving them Federal Reserve notes, legal tender, or you're giving them credits from your checking account. You know this. And even if you was to give them gold, all they're going to do is exchange it for Federal Reserve notes. That's it. That's it. This is, I mean, you don't even have to fact check this. Just look at your everyday normal life. So the mere fact that the government and HJR 192, people start to think that you could pay your bills using HJR 192. And HJR 192 had nothing to do with individual private debts. Because the Act of May 2nd, 1933, Congress said on the floor, of course, we cannot pay the private debts of individuals. We do not even have the authority to do so. They don't have the authority to do so. And the Constitution gave Congress the right to coin money and regulate the value thereof. So HJR 192 only said this. I'm just going to give you an example of what it means. If I owed you $1,000, no, if I owed you $100 and I give you 1,000 pennies and you say, nah, I want a $100 bill. That's what it means. You have to take the 1,000 pennies instead of the $100 bill that you want. That's all it means. That's all it said. Because if they did not accept your 1,000 pennies, then they would be obstructing Congress's authority to regulate the money and the value thereof. HJR 192 was all predicated from the Parity Act. It's the Parity Act, which makes coins and currency of the United States uniform. Because you can't say 1,000 pennies doesn't have the same value of a $100 bill. That will be deregulating the value of coins and currency of the United States. So let's say you got to pay your mortgage and you got to pay $2,000. If you brought them all ones, they can't say, nah, we want 2,000 all in hundreds. If you brought them a money order, they can't say, nah, want a personal check. If you brought them a postal money order, they can't say, nah, we want a wire transfer. And if they refuse the postal money order because they wanted a wire transfer, then the debt is discharged with that payment. And then you will have to take them to court and sue for that debt being discharged. That's all HJR 192 said. That's all it meant. That's all it says. HJR 192 is not a get out of paying your bills ticket. It's not. Y'all know it's not. You know you've tried it before. You know it hasn't worked. You know the courts have shot it down repeatedly. You know you got your accounts reversed. You know that coupon on the bill got reversed. You know it. You know it. You know it. You know it. Because there's nobody living rent-free today, mortgage-free, bill-free under HJR 192 today. And if they were, show me black and white proof where there are no third-party remedies. It's nothing but a purchase order. It's basically saying
you have to put a deposit down. You've got to put something down.
No, it's not how it goes. Because the deposit, you can say, nah, I don't want that. Man, I went live the other night on YouTube, so I'm reviewing this live on YouTube. So what y'all hear in the background is actually my class on YouTube. Y'all can follow me at thomaslegacy723@gmail.com. Thomas Legacy 723 on YouTube. You can email me at thomaslegacy603@gmail.com. Y'all, we over here with TikTok too, y'all. YouTube family, over here with TikTok as well. There's no obligation for you to pay. There's no monthly periodic payments. It's just a purchase order. Hey, Benz, I need a purchase order for this vehicle. I got a trust gonna be making the payments. All right, we'll fax it over to you. Here, let me give you 10,000 now. Oh, Benz, never mind. I don't want the truck anymore. Okay, here go your 10,000 back. It's all a scam. Jonah Bay's been scamming for years. I'm sorry you haven't seen that yet. Sorry you want to believe it because you probably want to pay for shit without money. But the reality is, when you get a purchase order, and even when it's coming from a trust, right? Should I play her the video, y'all? When Tamika got exposed for doing the same thing for with Jonah Bay's teaching. So this part was, she was trying to argue the fact. Oh, okay. Damn. My bad. Can't even vape on here. Why ain't y'all telling me you can't vape on here? Okay. Yeah, you can't even vape on here. Shit. Okay. My bad, TikTok. So basically, she was trying to say that a purchase order means that the fact that she got a purchase order, like let's just say this is a purchase order. The fact that she got a purchase order means that the process somewhere is going to go through. Like, because she was able to get a purchase order, that means she's about to get the vehicle without paying for it. A purchase order is nothing more than a fancy way of saying, I'm going to buy this vehicle outright. I don't have time to sit here and fill out all the paperwork. Give me a purchase order. I'm going to take it to the bank. I'm going to wire the funds. Y'all call me when it clears. But the underlining, the key nuclear fact is, no matter if it's a trust account at a bank, or your 401k, your investment account, your high interest yield savings, your CDs, no matter what account it is, there still must be reserves in that account in which you can wire the money. Meaning, a purchase order is not going to allow you to drive off the lot without paying money. And that's the whole point. We got to stop following teachers who's always promising that you can get goods and services in this world and not having to pay for it. Now, the only way you're entitled to any type of proceeds, any type of payments made on the account is if you are in a finance transaction. If you are in a finance transaction, if you've filled out an application, got approved, and are obligated on the debt instrument, but you're not really obligated on the debt instrument itself. You're obligated to the other securities that the participants invested in. Without the participants putting up the money, you would never have the money to get a mortgage or finance your auto. Somebody is putting the money up. Your signature on the paperwork itself is not really creating the money. In fact, they have forward sale transactions where they know everybody's going to come get a mortgage one day. So they already raised the money through institutional investors, financial investors, or individual investors. They raise the money so you can close. And then your instrument, your promissory note, deed of trust as mortgage, is then purchased by the special purpose vehicle. And then the special purpose vehicle conveys your promissory note, deed of trust into the trust as collateral for the trust notes issued by the issuing entity. So when you make your monthly payments on your mortgage, that's when the investors get paid back. But somebody is still paying for your mortgage up front. The problem is we need to understand foregone interest, securitization, advanced accounting, investment contracts, investment proceeds, double bookkeeping entries, off balance sheets reporting, debt instruments, all of that. Because once you understand all of that, then you can accurately attach your receipts and your statement to the IRS and report the transaction under the proper vehicle, and then you can get refund the access. That's what I'm teaching in my upcoming webinar. My other class dealing with just the execution part, because there's people who already got the basics because they in my Telegram group and they understand all that. Just the execution phase. So that's why I'll be teaching people how to properly report the transaction, number one. Number two, how to properly account for the transaction on the tax return. And number three, and this is the most important, your attaching your receipts and your statement explaining the transaction. That is more important than the 1099. In reality, the 1099 should be the very last thing you file, because the 1099 itself, this is from the United States Tax Court and the Internal Revenue Service and their revenue rulings. A 1099 by itself or a W-2 standing alone is not, it does not mean that income was received or income was paid. Although a 1099 can be used at the inception of an IRS investigation, a 1099 or W-2 standing alone does not ascertain to whether there is a tax liability or a person received income. So while everybody's so focused on filling out the 1099s, that's like the last brick on the house. You need to have your statements down pat, your receipts down pat, and you have to explain the transaction with all the facts and circumstances regarding it. A 1099 accepted means nothing. This is why everybody who filed the 1099s 2021, 2022, and all those subsequent years, if you look back at your 1099 online account, yeah, it may say accepted, but no money has moved. That should be an indicator as well. Interest, not securities, not this, not that, none of that. Because you did not present that instrument backed by your interest in these securities. You did not have that agreement established with those people that created the instrument. And if that was the case, then you would have took the instrument to them, not
You're right.
bank. Right.
You're right.
So that's
And I'm never going to do that again.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. You gotta, you can't mix up too many different formulas in one. So
I'm trying not to. I'm trying to stay focused.
I got you. No, I got you. But I'm just, I can't. I don't want to sell you a dream, or I'm just giving you my real. I just understand the system that they're going to be.
I'm consistent with it. Listen, I'm consistent with it. I study.
And stay fighting. I'm not saying give up. I'm just. The reason I'm doing this so you can start looking at other options. Okay, this may be a roadblock. How do I get around this? So you can start sitting around. Okay, they may be looking for money in an account to clear that. So let me go ahead and clear up that discrepancy. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Says to the IRS, hold on. Y'all may be thinking that this is going to be coming out of a real bank account, but no, this is how you should really be. You see what I'm saying? Like, get ahead of it, right? Get ahead of it. Because they're going to be looking for a real account with that money sitting in the debit. And if it's not, they're going to be like, oh, this is no good. So you need to get ahead of that now. Get ahead of it. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not a traditional transaction. This is an equity. I have equity in this, have equity in that. Set off your obligation to me for my, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, however you want to word it. But get ahead of that now. Right. While it's still sitting on their accredited before they reverse it. And I'll tell everybody, that's why I don't talk about banks. Why do you think I don't teach banking classes and stuff? Because they are like the bank, like I said, I've been saying this, the IRS is vicious. The banks are diabolical. The banks are diabolical. Banks, you can have everything correct and they're still going to do. You know how many times I've met that? What you want to do tonight? You know how many times I've been through that with them? Oh no, this no. I said, oh, because I'm still. What was the nature of the transaction tonight, though? So, she was trying to do a transaction at a bank. She came on the panel. She was live, and right before she went to do the transaction, I was actually talking about the bank regulations and how they most likely not going to accept self-created instruments that are not like a substitute check. Let's say you had like $5,000 in the account. You can create it's called a remotely created check. As long as all the account information is correct, then they can accept that. She was trying to go in there with one of these private instruments, and the banks, the financial centers, they just don't process those type of private instruments. And really, to be honest with you, those branches that you walk into every day, those are not the banks. They're the financial centers. The actual bank is the headquarters. Like Bank of America, the headquarters in North Carolina, that's the actual bank. Wells Fargo headquarters in California, that's the actual bank. Like Navy Federal Credit Union Administration, the headquarters, the corporate office in Vienna, Virginia, that's the actual credit union. All these other branches and all that, they're just financial centers. You want to know why? Because the loans don't go down at the financial centers. It's all being pushed up to the headquarters when it's approved. The corporate powers to actually engage in banking is done at the headquarters. This is why the loan officer never countersigns your promissory note for your mortgage. It's always done by the vice president. So all these transactions that we engage in every day, we may think it's going down at the branch, but the branch is just where we sign the paperwork. The actual behind the scenes transactions is going down at the corporate office. That's the actual bank. Another issue with that is these vice presidents, these people who have a higher understanding of what some of us would like to get accomplished, they don't accept unsolicited mail. They have to know it's coming. So when you're dealing with transactions that are this complex and this nature, it's always best to have a lawyer submit the documents on your behalf or try your hand and get a court order. But if you think you're going to walk into one of these branches with your own promissory note with no collateral backing it, set by the Federal Reserve's regulations, or a bill of exchange with no collateral backing it, you are going to be turned down every time. It's going to lead to disappointment. It's going to lead to frustration. All you're going to do is get back in your car, go back home, and start typing up threatening documents, threatening to sue, and do all this and telling them how wrong they are for not accepting what they consider a worthless instrument.
Offset the negatives with the check. So what I was seeing.
So you was trying to withdraw that.
No, I was trying to make a deposit.
She submitted an instrument that got credit. It was a federal tax payment electronically that got credited to the account. So I guess she was trying to come into another instrument to offset those credits. Still don't understand what she means by that, but whatever. But here's another thing that people don't understand. Just because you send a remittance into the IRS, even if you use the Federal Reserve number associated with your Social Security, that number on the back of your card, and then using your EIN or your Social Security number as the account number. The problem with that is it's still going to be processed as if you have an actual account publicly with the money sitting in it. The reason why it shows up as a credit on your transcript and everybody gets happy about it is the simple fact that once it hits the bank, once it hits wherever you see your 1040Vs at, and they get that payment, they are obligated to deposit that into the bank within 24, 48 hours in order so they won't, be out of the regulations. Just because it's deposited and the credit shows up in your account, it still takes 10 to 14 days for it to clear. So it's going to get deposited. The banks, I think they use JP Morgan a lot, the IRS. So let's just stick with that. It's going to be deposited into JP Morgan's account. JP Morgan is going to look at the routing number and send it to that Federal Reserve district. Once the Federal Reserve gets it and they put in that account number, no account is going to pop up in your name. Then they're going to send it back. No account. Then the IRS, they're going to try it again. Bam. Then they're going to send it back again. No account. After about the second or third time, them trying to cash it, they're going to reverse it, remove that credit off your account, or send you a penalty. That's how it works. That's the normal processing of these remittances. They used to work for a time period. I think they closed the door this past summer. The reason why they just shut it all down is because people were having a $10,000 tax debt, $14,000 almost to account for penalties and interest. They're going to write a $200,000 check. And the only reason why they're writing a $200,000 check is so they can get $190,000 back in an overpayment, because they're motivated by greed, or their situation may be in a desperate where they really need the money. So they're already thinking irrationally, because the IRS draws a red flag with them. Without even getting to the nuances of the Federal Reserve and our credit back and everything, let's put that to a side. The real red flag comes in is that if you owe $10,000, why would you send us a check for $200,000? Prime example. If you had $200,000 cash money in your checking account, if you had $200,000 cash money in your checking account, right? Evidence by the neighbor. See that? In the checking account. Would you dollar and done that if you had $200,000 cash money in your account? Would have done it? And being honest, a lot of people, the answer would have been no. You'd have only paid what you actually owed, no more, no less. So when they start believing that there's this big secret trust fund account and you can get all this money in, this is where the delusion sets in, for one. And this is where the rationality starts to fade. This is where decisions that we normally wouldn't have made if the cash money was sitting in our face now, we start to go way out in the stratosphere, because in reality, how can you really have confidence in something you can't see? Like that straw man account, trust fund account. How do you even know it exists? But someone telling you. What evidence can you point to that tells you black and white, that's on the books at the Treasury, black and white, that every American has a secret account at the government? Where is that in any? Because the people that will come back and say, well, they're not going to say that. Well, they're not going to say that. Or they're not going to tell you publicly. You just got to know it's in equity. But here's another thing to that. No funds can come out of the Treasury account except for as appropriations made by Congress, or a bill, or an act of Congress. So if there has to be statutory authorization to allow funds to come out the treasury on our behalf, then why wouldn't there be evidence of an account where the funds are coming from that's in our name? Because everything has to be an open book with the government accounts for the most part. So why isn't that public? Like, it just don't make any sense to me. Shit.
Huh?
Red flag.
No.
Yep, it came out. She told on herself.
No, I don't know who that is.
And like with your credit, with your check. If I got a purchase order, I would have to wire the money from my Navy Federal account. My Navy Federal account is going to decrease. See what I'm saying? So a purchase order is just a fancy way of saying, I want to buy the car outright, but I don't want to sit down and fill all that paperwork out. I'll come back later and wire it to y'all. That's it. You can get a purchase order without a trust. You can get a purchase order faxed over to you. It is so easy to get a purchase order, but you still have to have money to leave with the vehicle. And that's what these teachers are teaching. These teachers are teaching y'all, thinking that you can buy shit and convert checks into money where there's no real value in those checks from the beginning. That you can buy a vehicle.
Okay, that's my next test. That's gonna be my next run. I'll show you how it's done.
You don't know. I don't need you to show.
I'm not even going to the dealer. I'm not going. I'm not showing. I'm not showing my face.
You don't listen, crypto girl.
Yes.
If the money is not coming out of your public checking account or public trust account with Federal Reserve notes in your account already, you are wasting your time with the purchase order. You think you can purchase it without money. I'm trying to say, but I'm telling you exactly what I'm saying.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I'm trying to tell you, stop following these processes that get you to believe that you can pay for things in this world and buy goods and services without money. That's what I'm telling you. Stop following these people.
I'm not doing things without money. No,
I'm talking, but what? Okay. See, this is the part where the disingenuousness comes in there, because Jonah Bay and all the other teachers she follows outside of me, they all advocate for some secret trust fund account that's going to pay for this, some secret trust fund account that's going to pay for that. So what do you mean you're not doing it with money? Because you basically saying they're waiting for you to sign off on it. You've got a purchase order, you take that to your bank. It's a simple wire transfer. Why hasn't a wire transfer taken place yet? It's the simple fact that you don't have the funds to wire it. So you're trying to use this straw man trust account to pay for it. Paying the full price. If you go get a purchase order for a Maserati, let's say it's $115,000. Just because you put $10,000 down doesn't mean that you created a debt. And even if you created the debt, you're not getting finance for the vehicle. So you need to come up with the rest of the $104,000. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what they're not telling you. What they're not telling you is none of that shit works. What they're not telling you is you could be potentially committing fraud. Hold up.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who to me. Never seen this.
I rewind it back a little bit because I missed the part one, Johnny.
I will tell you though.
Nah, this is Caleb.
I've never even seen one of her videos. I swear to God, never. Even Jonah Bay talks. I was like, I have no idea.
There's other teacher right there.
There you go.
Jonah, I just said Jonah. Listen, yeah.
So it's two of them.
Jonah Bay taught me the purchase order. Yeah.
Okay. Now it comes up.
Listen, that works.
Because the deposit, you can say, nah, I don't want that car anymore. There's no obligation for you to pay. There's no monthly periodic payments. It's just a purchase order. Hey, Benz, I need a purchase order for this vehicle. I got a trust, gonna be making the payments. All right, we'll fax it over to you. Here, let me give you 10,000 now. Oh, Benz, never mind. I don't want the truck anymore. Okay, here go your 10,000 back. It's all a scam. Jonah Bay's been scamming for years. I'm sorry you haven't seen that yet. Sorry you want to believe it because you probably want to pay for shit without money. But the reality is, when you get a purchase order, and even when it's coming from a trust, right? Should I play her the video, y'all? When Tamika got exposed for doing the same thing for with Jonah Bay's teaching? When she got exposed for?
What did she do? What did she do?
Just rip the Band-Aid off. Just go ahead.
What did she do?
I'm about to pull it up for you.
I don't want to see the video. What did she? Just tell me what she did.
I'm about to tell you. She got a purchase order. Said it was coming out of a trust. She went to a Wells Fargo account where money is deposited into a Federal Reserve notes in their account, and she wired the money from there. She got the vehicle and ran back to her students like, yeah, straight out, fresh off the lot with just a purchase order, no money. Someone fact-checked her, called the dealership, told them about Tamika. He said, oh, yeah, she was here. And he exposed her that, yeah, she just wired the money from her bank. But that was actual money that she got from selling those fraudulent packages and shit. So even though you got a purchase order, money still has to come from your banking account. The purchase order is not creating a debt. Just because you got a debt, you can't convert it into credit. It still has to come into the same thing like with your credit, with your check. If I got a purchase order, I would have to wire the money from my Navy Federal account. My Navy Federal account is going to decrease. See what I'm saying? So a purchase order is just a fancy way of saying, I want to buy the car outright, but I don't want to sit down and fill all that paperwork out. I'll come back later and wire it to y'all. That's it. You can get a purchase order without a trust. You can get a purchase order faxed over to you. It is so easy to get a purchase order. But you still have to have money to leave the vehicle. Yeah, and that's what these teachers are teaching. These teachers are teaching y'all, thinking that you can buy shit and convert checks into money where there's no real value in those checks from the beginning. All a scam. All a scam. Thing like with your credit, with your check. If I got a purchase order, I would have to wire the money from my Navy Federal account. My Navy Federal account is going to decrease. See what I'm saying? So a purchase order is just a fancy way of saying, I want to buy the car outright, but I don't want to sit down and fill all that paperwork out. I'll come back later and wire it to y'all. That's it. You can get a purchase order without a trust. You can get a purchase order faxed over to you. It is so easy to get a purchase order. But you still have to have money to leave with the vehicle. Yeah, and that's what these teachers are teaching. These teachers are teaching y'all, thinking that you can buy shit and convert checks into money where there's no real value in those checks from the beginning. That you can buy a vehicle.
Okay, that's my next test. That's going to be my next.
See, after hearing all that, instead of just being like, you know what, let me just sit back and study more, gain more understanding. This is the mindset of so many people in these spaces. They don't want to invest any time in studying, getting an understanding, soaking it all in, doing vigorous research. They just want to, oh, this don't work, move to the next process. This don't work, move to the next. While their efforts are increasing in their documents and the volume of documents they're sending out increases, but their overall understanding is not increased. It's the same. It never increases. It's the understanding that's supposed to increase, not the volume of documents sent in. And most of the times, it's just a fancy way of them saying the same thing that got rejected. Just a reword and repackage it, but it's still along the same rhetoric.
Run. I'll show you how it's done.
You don't know. I don't need you to show.
I'm not even going to the dealer. I'm not going in now. I'm not showing. I'm not showing my face.
You don't listen, crypto girl.
Yes.
If the money is not coming out of your public checking account or public trust account with Federal Reserve notes in your account already, you are wasting your time with the purchase order. You think you can purchase it without money. I'm trying to say, but I'm telling you exactly what I'm saying.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I'm trying to tell you, stop following these processes that get you to believe that you can pay for things in this world and buy goods and services. These teachers are teaching. These teachers are teaching y'all, thinking that you can buy shit and convert checks into money where there's no real value in those checks from the beginning. That you can buy a vehicle.
Okay, that's my next test. That's gonna be my next run. I'll show you how it's done.
Still don't get it. You don't know. I don't need
you. I'm not even going to the dealer. I'm not going in now. I'm not showing. I'm not showing my face.
You don't listen, crypto girl.
Yes.
If the money is not coming out of your public checking account or public trust account with Federal Reserve notes in your account already, you are wasting your time with the purchase order. You think you can purchase it without money. I'm trying to say, but I'm telling you exactly what I'm saying.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I'm trying to tell you, stop following these processes that get you to believe that you can pay for things in this world and buy goods and services without money. You hear that pause? You see that pause? That was a pause, y'all, because she knew that's exactly what she's trying to accomplish. That's exactly what she's trying to do. That's exactly what she's trying to do because they all try to do it. 98% of the people in these spaces are only doing it because they believe there's some free shit you can get out of it. They can buy goods and services in this world without their hard-earned money. That's the only reason why they're here. If 98% of the people in these spaces understood what it really took and the amount of understanding that it took to get a remedy, they wouldn't even be here in the first place. That's what I'm telling you. Stop following these people.
I'm not doing things without money.
I'm talking about paying the full price. If you go get a purchase order for a Maserati, let's say it's $115,000. Just because you put $10,000 down doesn't mean that you created a debt. And even if you created the debt, you're not getting finance for the vehicle. So you need to come up with the rest of the $104,000. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what they're not telling you. What they're not telling you is none of that shit works. Facts. What they're not telling you is you could be potentially committing fraud. Facts. Facts. What they're not telling you is you could be hit with a bill associated with that thing you deposited. Facts. Facts. What they not going to tell you is as soon as you get that bill, they're not going to be nowhere around. Facts. Facts. What they not telling you is they fuck so many lives up for people believing that shit. Facts, 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 facts. That was a 100p moment. What they not telling you is they stole a lot.
I always pay for my cars. Yeah. No, I'm not following that.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. She said, I always pay for my cars. I'm not following that. But yet, you were just saying that's what you were doing. You see how when the reality and the truth hits them on how silly they sound, or how silly these processes are, they immediately try to disassociate themselves. But knowing behind closed doors, they're going to be sending out the same documents, singing the same song. They're not going to tell you what I'm telling you. They're telling you everything that you want to hear. That's why I said
I don't follow Jonah anymore.
It don't matter who you follow. You're still doing processes that he taught you. You don't have to follow him.
I'm not. Listen,
mindset. It's crypto. Your mindset is
already. I said I have a.
You're not getting. I know you ain't got the car. You was never going to get the car that way. She said, I didn't say I got the car, but earlier you try to make it seem like, oh, the car is good as purchased. Now she has to do damage control. Now she got to. This is where the pride, the ego, and the reality of how silly and how they've been bamboozled. This is when it starts to soak in, when the reality sets in. Getting finance for the vehicle. So you need to come up with the rest of the 104,000. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what they're not telling you. What they're not telling you is none of that shit works. What they're not telling you is you could be potentially committing fraud. What they're not telling you is you could be hit with a bill associated with that thing you deposited. What they're not going to tell you is as soon as you get that bill, they're not going to be nowhere around. What they're not telling you is they fuck so many lives up for people believing that shit. What they're not telling you is they stole a lot.
I always pay for my car. No, I'm not following that.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're not going to tell you what I'm telling you. They're telling you everything that you want to hear. That's why I said
I don't follow Jonah anymore.
It don't matter who you follow. You're still doing processes that he taught you. You don't have to follow him.
I'm not.
Mindset. It's crypto. Your mindset is already. See, she's trying to defend instead of listening. She's trying to defend something there's no need to defend. She don't get it. She's so busy trying to defend. She's still missing the key point. Everything she said doesn't matter because she knows she's doing the same thing she was taught. So you're defending nothing. What it is the reality is hitting too hard, and it's a tough pill to swallow. Now she's saying, I'm not doing that stuff. Oh, I ain't saying I got the car. But you damn might as well said you did, because that's how you presented it, that it was as good as purchase.
No, I'm not following that.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're not going to tell you what I'm telling you. They're telling you everything that you want to hear. That's why I said
I don't follow Jonah anymore.
It don't matter who you follow. You're still doing processes that he taught you. You don't have to follow him.
I'm not.
Mindset. It's crypto. Your mindset is already. I'm not saying you did. I'm not saying you did. What I'm trying to tell you is you don't see this. I see it. I'm on the outside looking in. You don't see it. The effect of being with these people has had on you. You don't see it. You think everything is just cool. But I'm trying to tell you, you don't even know it. Notice it. You're doing processes, whether you know it or not, that you're trying to get around the actual credentials that you need to have shit go through. But that's what these processes breed. You know there's no real, hold on. Here's clarity. I got you. But you know there is no real money in that account in which you deposit that instrument, where it could be debited from. They can look at that as fraud. That was a substantial amount that you deposit. If that IRS reverses it and sends you a bill of %2 of that amount, you're looking at hundreds of What happened? I put spot. Take 3.
And the first time,
can't teach you or show you the regulations they relied on to get their results. I guarantee those results are not going to be long lasting. You can squiggle around and get a check out the IRS because the system generated it before they go back and check. But when they go back and check those accounts and you did not have the proper regulations, they're going to ask for the money back. What they're not going to do is let you know that the IRS asked for that check back. They're going to sweep it under the rug or disappear. Don't be fooled by material shit that they show. Regulations, codes, statutes, and being in compliance with the rules to the game. That's going to take you farther than anyone else saying, hey, you want your account to look like this? Want your account to look like this? Join my class. Yeah, okay. Well, I think it fucked up. I'll be vaping live on it. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on one second. I think I fucked up by vaping live on this. Good.
I did it with the treasury. Sorry, with the trust account with the USPS. And
I heard, and what she's gonna say is, "Oh, I did it, and they rejected. They didn't send me the bill that time." Just still missing the point.
It went back. They didn't charge me anything.
Right. Still, it's a discretion. You're still putting yourself in that position where it could happen.
You're right. Yes, you are definitely.
If you don't want to be sitting here with a $225,000 interest and penalties debt because they are aggressive with their collection aid practice, especially that amount. What I'm saying is, do whatever you do, but you always got to stay on the right side of the law with it because you're on the fence of legal activities, illegal.
I'm on the IRS side because of the
but you're not. But you're not. You're not. You're really not. You're really not. That's what I'm trying to get you to see.
I should just do the paperwork instead of doing it.
No, what you should you see what I'm saying? Everything's just about sending more paperwork. Never no understanding. Never no. Let me just sit my happy ass down for a second and learn more. It's never no. And she thinks she's on the IRS. I'm on. No, you're doing everything they say not to do. You literally, that could have went a whole different route. And it's still up in the air. You're not on the IRS side. When you deposit an instrument with the IRS, unless you explain how different this instrument is and give the proper instructions for this particular instrument, it's going to credit to your account, but they're going to be looking at a subsequent account to debit. That's how it works. And if you didn't clarify that, nah, this is not a public account. This is more like set off this instrument with equity that I feel I'm entitled to, whatever. But they're going to be looking for another account to evidence it. That's why we're going to go back and say, that's why I say, there was no money in that account. You know damn well when you walked into that bank, you was bringing in worthless documents. You may think that means something because you throw some codes and statutes and notice of interest, but you know it's hot air. It's nothing of value that you presented. It was nothing. But they know these things, and they still do it. You're not getting finance for the vehicle. So you need to come up with the rest of the 104,000. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what they're not telling you. What they're not telling you is none of that shit works. What they're not telling you is you could be potentially committing fraud. What they could look at that as fraud. That bill, they're not going to be nowhere around. What they're not telling you is they fuck so many lives up for people believing that shit. What they're not telling you is they stole a lot.
I always pay for my car. No, I'm not following that.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're not going to tell you what I'm telling you. They're telling you everything that you want to hear. That's why I said
I don't follow Jonah anymore.
It don't matter who you follow. You're still doing processes that he taught you. You don't have to follow him.
I'm not.
Mindset. It's crypto. Your mindset is already. I'm not saying you did. I'm not saying you did. What I'm trying to tell you is you don't see this. I see it. I'm on the outside looking in. You don't see it. The effect of being with these people has had on you. You don't see it. You think everything is just cool. But I'm trying to tell you, you don't even know it. Notice it. You're doing processes, whether you know it or not, that you're trying to get around the actual credentials that you need to have shit go through. But that's what these processes breed. You know there's no real, hold on. There's a moment of clarity. I got you. But you know there is no real money in that account in which you deposit that instrument. Facts. That's the part that they don't ever seem to get. Now, unless you can explain that, it's a worthless document to them. This is why they put out Alert 9910 for worthless documents like that. This is why. Where it could be debited from. If you're going to get a purchase order for a Maserati, let's say it's $115,000, that you're trying to get around the actual credentials that you need to have shit go through. But that's what these processes breed. You know there's no real, hold on. There's a moment of clarity. I got you. But you know there is no real money in that account in which you deposit that instrument, where it could be debited from. They could look at that as fraud. That was a substantial amount that you deposit. If the IRS reverses it and sends you a bill of 2% of that amount, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of interest.
And listen. And the first time I did it with the treasury, with the trust account with the USPS, it went back. They didn't charge me anything.
Right. It's a discretion. You're still putting yourself in that position where it could happen.
You're right. Yes, you are definitely.
If you don't want to be sitting here with a $225,000 interest and penalties debt because they are aggressive with their collection aid practice, especially that amount. What I'm saying is do whatever you do, but you always got to stay on the right side of the law with it because you're on the fence of legal activities, illegal.
I'm on the IRS side because of the
but you're not. You're really not. That's what I'm trying to get you to see.
I should just do the paperwork.
See, they don't get it. Sitting back and understanding, being patient, taking your time, no matter how long it takes, from the time you start studying and gaining an understanding until you're ready to start submitting documents. That is what they want to get around because they don't have the patience and discipline to do it. That is the hallmark of these people who are motivated by greed, who are in desperate positions, who are just impatient. They want what they want now, but don't know how to figure it out to get it. But they don't want to do that. So just substituting this paperwork for that paperwork is just another way of saying, I don't feel like studying. I'm just going to keep pushing it to hopefully one day it gets honored.
Instead of doing it.
No, what you should do is listen to this advice. And this advice is not just for her. It's for anyone who, although you may not publicly believe, you move like her. And I fuck with Crypto Girl, but I keep it 100 across the board. I don't give a fuck. Whoever was in her position I was talking to, it was still going to be a live review.
You're right. Yes, you are definitely.
If you don't want
correct.
to be sitting here with a $225,000 interest and penalties debt because they are aggressive with their collection aid practice, especially that amount. What I'm saying is, do whatever you do, but you always got to stay on the right side of the law with it because you're on the fence of legal activities, illegal.
I'm on the IRS side because of the
but you're not. But you're not. You're not. You're really not. You're really not. That's what I'm trying to get you to see.
I should just do the paperwork instead of doing it.
No, what you should do is study more and understand your position so you can put stuff together effectively. You're moving with half information and you don't have all the information to be doing the things that you're doing. Yep. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You think you got it, but you only really got about 10-15% of it.
Damn. You giving yourself that credit?
I'm serious. You only got like 10-15% of it. But what I'm trying to get you to see is I don't want you to get jammed up because I know, well, I believe that you're not purposely trying to commit fraud. I know that you're not purposely trying to swindle them. I believe that you believe that you're standing on your rights, right?
Correct.
Irregardless of which side of the fence that you're on when you stand on your rights, you're still responsible for everything you send off. You're responsible for every deposit that you make. You're going to be held accountable for everything that you do. So what I'm telling you is to keep you out of these people's shit lists often. No matter how much it sounds, no matter how much you don't subscribe to the theories, from what I see and what I hear, it's all the sovereign citizen way. No matter if you don't believe it or not,
listen,
you don't have to have those words on there. Listen, you don't have to have those words on there. You don't need to have the belief system. If it looks like it, they're going to treat you like you're one. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just say one thing? Just one more thing. I need to say one thing before we.
Go ahead.
I only filed ever, okay, because I was married for like 15 years to a soldier, and he filed joint, okay? So I've probably filed ever in my life 4 times taxes, okay? And the only time I've ever put any documents in with the IRS was online, and that's twice.
That's
ever.
Cool. Still missing the point. She's talking about acts, filing this, filing that. I'm talking about mindset and understanding. That is the biggest point that a lot of these people who lacks the discipline to stop sitting in documents until they fully understand what they're doing. That is their always response. Well, I didn't do this. I only did that. I'm not talking about what you did and what you didn't do. I'm talking about the understanding. But when you bring that up, they have nothing to say.
Okay? So I don't do processes. I don't send paperwork. I don't do none of that shit. That's just not me. If I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it. That's why I knew what I was doing here, and I thought they were going to accept it, but, you know, it is what it is. I know how to deal with it now.
Yeah, I ain't worried about. I ain't worried about.
I'm not that person that does the process, it does the sovereign citizenship and sends all this paperwork.
No, I'm not saying you, but here's the thing.
Frivolous filing, none of that. That's
now, I got you. No, I got you. Here's the thing. Here's the tricky part about it. You don't even have to be one. You don't have to subscribe to it. For all I care, you can hate that ideology. But if some of the things you do are mirroring it, that's when the waters get muddy. That's all I'm saying.
But that's the thing. How am I mirroring it when I haven't even put in a process?
See, that's the thing.
Documents, and that's
the line. That's the part I'm trying to get. That you don't see that you are. Just what you emailed me in tonight. A whole bunch of sovereign citizens tried what you tried tonight. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. See, they've already tried what you tried. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. They went down the same path you're going down now. And usually sovereign citizens go down that path. Even though you're not one. I'm just trying to tell you.
Sovereign citizen, somebody that doesn't even deal with the IRS.
They still go down the path. They still do it.
They don't have paperwork in or
and she's talking about having paperwork in with them, creating a relate. She don't even understand that sovereign citizen rhetoric. Oh, you gotta have your paperwork in place. Have your paperwork in place. Sovereign citizens believe that they're and we know sovereign citizen is not a term. We know it's not in the dictionary. It's just a phrase, a label. We know sovereign citizen is just a label. It's just a label. We know that. For people who share these similar like beliefs, they just give them a label. So stop with the semantics. But most of the sovereign citizens, they believe that the U.S. has no jurisdiction. The land is theirs. They don't have to pay bills. Everything is theirs. Whatever. However you want to phrase it. But they also use the same tax forms and send in same claims to the government that they say they have no jurisdiction over. They send in tax forms in hopes of getting fraudulent returns. Yes, sovereign citizens still uses government forms. Why do they use it? Because anytime they feel like they could get something for nothing or it's an advantage, they're going to throw all their belief systems out the window. This is why I don't take them serious. Because if every sovereign citizen in this space had $1 million drop in their lap and that $1 million would cover all their bills and leave them with $300,000 left over to do whatever they want, they would drop that sovereign citizen shit. They will get tags on their vehicles. They will pay their bills. Most of it that come to these spaces lack the financial security. You don't see millionaires saying they're sovereign citizens. Now, 10% of people in these spaces can pay their bills all year without a hiccup. The other 90%, this is why they're doing these processes. So let's just stop it and call it what it is.
I mean, I don't understand what the sovereign shit is.
When you're dealing with the bank, the only time you should have real paperwork and all this extra paperwork is if you're a major trust and you're managing $2.5 million in asset. It's a 15-page document. Got to go into the IRS. 15 pages. All typed up by hand. How much understanding and knowledge and studying you think I had to do in order to put this together? Questions about the nature of the income tax. A Treasury determination that the 16th Amendment allowed for the income tax assessed for the said tax years to be direct and non-apportioned. We're a little confused because the IRS believes that the 16th Amendment authorized such a tax, but the congressional record, Proceedings and Debates of the 78th Congress, First Session, Volume 89, Part 2, March 2nd, 1943 to April 5th, 1943, pages 1459 to 2940. More specifically, page 2850, 7th paragraph, seems to differ from the IRS. This section reads, The 16th Amendment authorizes the taxation of income from whatever source derived, thus taking in investment income without apportionment among the several states. The Supreme Court has held that the 16th Amendment did not extend the taxing power of the United States to newly accepted subjects, but merely removed the necessity which might otherwise exist for an apportionment among the states of taxes laid on the income, whether it be derived from one source or another. So the amendment made it possible to bring investment income within the scope of a general income tax law, but did not change the character of the tax. It is still fundamentally an excise or duty with respect to the privilege of carrying on any activity or owning any property which produces income. The income tax is, therefore, not a tax on income as such, which most people think it is. It is an excise tax with respect to certain activities and privileges, which is measured by reference to the income which they produce. The income is not the subject of the tax. It is the basis for determining the amount of the tax, straight from Congress's mouth. The above insert was from Congress, who makes the Internal Revenue laws. So we are confused and need assistance. This is for a client of mine. A, what certain activities or privileges did the taxpayer engage in that was an excise of nature that served for the basis of the assessment of taxes? B, does the IRS look at the income itself, or do they look at the activities or privileges as the source of the tax? C, did the taxpayer, by reporting and or assessing taxes on Form 1040, when the activities or privileges that produce the income that were not an excise of nature outside the scope of the income tax laws under Subtitle A, subject himself to Subtitle A? If the answer to question C is next, would it be a violation of his First Amendment right, freedom of speech, to force him to pay the taxes he erroneously reported and or assessed when he was not lawfully required to pay the said taxes? E, does the taxpayer have the right to correct information provided on the original tax returns or schedules if the original tax returns were inaccurate, when the IRS requires all taxpayers to provide truthful and accurate reporting? F, was the Supreme Court's Brushaber holding accurate in their opinion about the income tax when the court said verbatim, "We are of opinion, however, that the confusion is not inherent, but rather arises from the conclusion that the 16th Amendment provides for a hitherto unknown power of taxation, that is, a power to levy an income tax which, although direct, should not be subject to the regulation of apportionment applicable to all other direct taxes, and the far-reaching effect of this erroneous assumption will be made clear by generalizing the many contentions advanced in argument to support it." Note, after generalizing the many contentions advanced in argument to support the erroneous conclusion that the 16th Amendment provides for a power to levy an income tax which is both direct and not subject to the regulation of apportionment, the Brushaber Court pointed out that the very suggestion of a non-apportioned direct tax is completely incoherent because that will cause, here's their words again, one provision of the Constitution to destroy another. That is, it will result in bringing the provisions of the amendment supposedly exempting a direct tax from apportionment into irreconcilable conflict with the general requirements that all direct taxes be apportioned. The result, instead of simplifying the situation and making clear the limitations on the taxing power, which obviously the amendment must have been intended to accomplish, would create radical and destructive changes in our constitutional system and multiply confusion. G, was it verbatim that taxes on income is in its nature an excise entitled to be enforced as such? Is the IRS interpretation of Brushaber on his website consistent with the actual verbatim holding from the said court? The IRS website states that Brushaber recognized that the 16th Amendment authorizes a direct non-apportionment tax upon United States citizens throughout the nation. Does the IRS's interpretation of Brescherberg posted on his website accurately reflect the actual holding from that court and the congressional record from the proceedings and debate cited above? The answer to these questions will give us clarity and allow us to process the IRS's demand for payment properly and accurately. The answer will also give us confidence that the payments made will not be against the taxpayer's Bill of Rights, which protects the taxpayer the right to pay no more than the correct amount of tax. Taxpayers have the right to pay only the amount of tax legally due, including interest and penalties, and to have the IRS apply all tax payments properly. The questions presented are well within the taxpayer's Bill of Rights, the right to be informed. Taxpayers have the right to know what they need to do to comply with the tax laws. They are entitled to clear explanations of the tax laws and IRS procedures in all tax forms, instructions, publications, notices, and correspondences. They have the right to be informed of decisions about their tax accounts and to receive clear explanations of the outcomes. And that's just page 2, 1 and 2. You see how we combat them? The one. Shout out the one. Appreciate you, homeboy. Y'all get like the one, man. Get like the one to drop a super sticker, super chat. If you can't do that, hit the like, share, subscribe. Hit the heart. Hit the heart. Hit the 100. If what I read was 100 to you, hit the 100. Put a 100 in the chat. But do you see how just the first 2 pages, it's an art to putting these documents together. It's not just slapping words together. It's an art. Do you notice the format? It's in a way, just in case we got to go to court, I'm going to spank their asses in court. We started with the congressional records. That sets the bar. Then we go to the Supreme Court binding opinion that coincides with the congressional record, pretty much coinciding with Congress. And then we agree with Congress and the Supreme Court. Okay. So now we're looking at the IRS saying we have some questions. We didn't say, oh, my client don't owe these taxes. Y'all playing. My client don't got to pay tax. We didn't say that. We said, okay, can you answer these few questions in order for us to process the payment so we can send y'all payment? But before we do that, we got a few questions. And why did I ask these questions? Because in federal tax court, in the rules of civil procedure, if you ask questions and they ignore the questions, which will become your argument, they can't come back and argue our position later when we ask for clarifying answers. Because my client, we're not trying to tax dodge. We're just asking questions to get more of an understanding. The taxpayer, we have a right to be more informed of, hold on, how do we owe this? Give us some explanations. And if they refuse to answer, that is called a estoppel. If you don't respond to the claim right then and there, you can't respond to it in the suit. It's an admission. You see that? That's part of my client's trustee package. We pay out for it. This is just one part of it. 15 pages of fire. Not going to find my shit floating around the internet. Everything I do from scratch. All this right here is typed up by hand. All this. All that's typed up by hand. All this typed up by hand. All this in this folder. I think this is my copies. Yeah. All this right here. Typed up by hand. Never a frivolous response or a negative response. But what I'm trying to tell her is she needs to be studying to build herself up to that. So she knows what she's doing. The understanding goes farther than just putting words on a piece of paper correctly. It's how your position is, how you just systematically break them down while not coming off as a tax protester. I don't ever protest taxes. I ask clarifying questions. Cash money, no equity, none of that private equity. Hey, the one, that's how your shit gonna look too. You hear me? That's how your shit gonna look too, man. That's how your shit gonna look too. Your shit gonna look just like that. Richard, that's how your shit gonna look. Everybody got served. That's how your shit gonna look. Just like that. These shit. Peter, only time you should self-made. Who else I got in here? Everybody. Have all these big paperwork. It's if you got a big corporation. Well, like your brain. Or you got a portfolio of assets. Or you got private wealth. You're mega rich. Look, that's the only time you can have all these trusts and all this stuff. You don't need all that.
I get that. Now, let me ask you something. With an instrument, for example, like my securities that I've found on, let's just say, an AT&T bill.
Right.
I have the original. I've got the original certificate, you can say, right? The original.
The fuck does it matter?
Original security.
Doesn't matter.
That's showing me the amounts, the auctions, the tendering of payment, the on the Treasury news, the debt news. You know what I'm talking about? Right. I'm seeing all this.
Okay, but here's what: you're not the registered beneficial owner, so it doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
But I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill. So I am.
That's not a dividend. That's not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how. So this is a problem with the sovereign citizen bug. They take normal meanings that got their normal understanding that's widely accepted and put their own. So basically, what the sovereign citizen bug is, this is a rectangular piece of paper. This rectangular piece of paper does not fit in the circle hole that they need. So what they do is they look at this rectangular piece of paper and say, this is a square, this is a circle paper now. Now let me put this rectangular paper in the circle hole, and no matter how much it's not fitting, they just paste it right there inside the hole's fit. Do you see how the sovereign citizen bug has people just sounding foolish, just sounding crazy? Before she got hit with that sovereign citizen bug, but these are the after effects from being with people like Jonah Bey. Although you leave the effects and the ideologies of their teachings is ingrained in them. This is where lack of self-awareness and how the human mind works. That was embedded in her subconscious mind. You know why? Because when she first came to these spaces, I guarantee she came to these spaces in the beginning to get something out of it now. So whatever your original, unless you do the paradigm shift, whatever you came there for from the beginning is more than likely what your mindset and beliefs of the system is going to be shaped. So normally when people get a bill or a statement in the mail, that's just a fucking statement. But when you get with the sovereign citizens and get bit by their bug, that bill is a credit. It's a security. It's a dividend. Let's just say it was a dividend. How do you have to pay a dividend when you're supposed to be receiving it? You see, just The sovereign citizen bug gets their followers to throw all basic logic and reasoning out the window in order to stay on this belief system. You have to throw logic out the door, out the window. Or you got private wealth. You're mega rich. That's the only time you can have all these trusts and all this stuff. You don't need all that.
I get that. Now let me ask you something. With an instrument, for example, like my securities that I've found on, let's just say, an AT&T bill.
Right.
I have the original. I've got the original certificate, you can say, right? The original security. That's showing me the amounts, the auctions, the
You hear that? The auctions, the amount. That means they're selling it. That means somebody else is the beneficiary of those proceeds from the sale. She's not even nowhere near in that game with them. Somebody else is the beneficial owner. But the sovereign citizen bug has people thinking that just because your name's on it, just because your name's associated with, then it's automatically yours. That they use that premise in order to get around the fact and study how securities work, registration of them, book entries, book value, who's the registered beneficial owner of it. See, in the real securities world, you have to be registered on the books as the beneficial owner to have an entitlement. But the sovereign citizen bug, it's mine. Now I can go in their world too.
You know, the tendering of payment.
Right. So she's the obligor, right? She's definitely the obligor. They send her the bill. They're not sending her a dividend.
On the Treasury news, the debt news, you know what I'm talking about? Right. I'm seeing all this.
Okay, but here's what. You're not the registered beneficial owner, so it doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
But I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill.
So right there, she says, I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill. Hold on. Let's just look it up. Let's just look it up. Because we all know the answer. But this is how the sovereign citizen bug really affects normal understanding. Basic, like you don't even have to think about it. Watch this. If I get a bill from AT&T, does that mean I'm getting dividends? And my wife, she's not even in the security world, but everybody knows that if you get a bill, that means something you're liable for. You can't be liable on something when you're getting dividends. You know what I'm saying? But the sovereign citizen bug, it tells you to throw that out the window. So let's see what they got to say. Receiving a bill from AT&T doesn't mean you're getting dividends. A bill is a request for payment for services you've used, like your phone or internet service. Dividends, on the other hand, are payments made to shareholders from a company's profits. If you own AT&T stock, like I said, which means you're the registered beneficial owner, which for federal tax purposes has to be reported to the IRS, you might receive dividends, which are typically paid quarterly. So if you're getting a bill, it's just for service you use, not a sign of dividends. But I didn't even have to look this up. We all know this. If you ask any American who's not even in the securities world, if they get a bill without even knowing the securities world, they're already going to know, hold on, that's something I got to pay. That ain't something I'm receiving. But the sovereign citizen mindset gets you to throw that basic reasoning and logic out the window. So how do you think this is why they don't progress? Because they're so stuck on their mindset, their normal mindset that they had before they got bit by the sovereign citizen bug. The mindset that they adopt after being bitten by the sovereign citizen bug sets them back, sets them further away from their goals, because they start adopting beliefs that makes no sense. And if you're not even making sense in your normal everyday life belief system, how can you be successful with these processes? Because the sovereign citizen bug, what it does to these people is it has them looking at the world a certain way. But the way they're looking at the world is not the reality of the real world. So they're in conflict with just normal securities, normal registrations, normal processing. They take the real law, real regulations, and throw it aside. And they make up their own terms of what the law is or what they want it to be. But then they wonder why they show up to the teller and they're saying, we don't accept those. We don't know what that is. But in their mind, oh, this is what it really is. This is the issue. And this is the dangerous effects when you get bit by the sovereign citizen bug.
Oh, I am.
That's not a dividend. That's not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of exchange.
Oh my gosh. No, she went back to the 1990s sovereign citizen talking point, where a bill, an AT&T bill, is a bill of exchange, which is a three. This is how ridiculous, dangerous, and infectious this sovereign citizen bug is, babe. It has these people thinking that an AT&T bill is a three-party draft. It's the same as a check. And it's not even the fact that these are her own thoughts. These are her own belief systems. This is nothing but passed down, watered down ideologies that have never gotten anyone any results, and they still try it. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah, they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the Q-tip on it. I know it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. Hey, there you go, fam. I ain't saying no, man. They found a Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. And I'm usually not the one to laugh at my own jokes, but that shit was funny. Because I was getting frustrated at that point. Like, yo, your thinking and belief is so far removed from reality. You are starting to sound crazy and bug. It gets them sounding crazy. That's what it does. And they know in their real, true, higher self that that's not the reality of real world. But since they got bitten by the sovereign citizen bug, they have to adopt this belief. You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
But I am getting dividends.
It's only time you should have real paperwork and all these extra paperwork. Not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. But here's the thing. They don't ever believe that they're sovereign citizens. They just don't like the word. They don't like the label. But all their talking points is the same as a sovereign citizen. All their documents, everything. Like, why are you putting public law on a fucking financial instrument? What the fuck does public law have to do with a financial instrument? A financial instrument is a financial instrument. You don't have to explain to them what it is. Credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of
That's how
exchange.
they look. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah, they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the Q-tip on it. I know it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. Hey, my wife, hey, that shit was. I'm gonna clip that one up. How they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of
That's
exchange.
how they look. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. No, hey, all of her answers was what all the sovereign citizens say. Yo, every single answer was sovereign citizen. I'm like, yo, when she don't believe she's won. She was with Jonah Bay. That's already knew it. When she said, I don't follow him no more, but I said, you ain't got follow. You still got bit by the bug. You still got bit by the sovereign citizen bug. That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah, they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the Q-tip on it. I know it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. It doesn't matter. You're not registered on the books as the beneficial. Yeah, and she did got me going on Patrick Devine. The Patrick Devine order. Not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of
That's
exchange.
how they look. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. Hey, 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 she said, what is the bill of exchange? Well, and I was in my point. I'm trying to tell her the other thing that they say, and she hit another thing. That's I said, hold on, that's what. Oh shit!
The on the Treasury News, the debt news. You know what I'm talking about? You're right. I'm seeing all this.
Okay, but here's what: you're not the registered beneficial owner, so it doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to get you to say. You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends. So her answer to that, she got a Q-tip and it's a bill of exchange. She totally did not answer the fact that you're not on the books, you're not the registered owner. And she had nothing to say, but I got the Q-tip and it's a bill of exchange. You're not the registered beneficial owner, so it don't matter. You notice? Didn't say nothing with that. Dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
But I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill. So I am.
That's not a dividend. That's not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it.
It's a bill of exchange.
They look. But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah, they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the Q-tip on it. I know.
Look, instead of just being like, hey, all right, maybe I'm off. That's another sovereign citizen response. They just keep going on and on. They refuse to accept reality that their position is off, that their belief system is off. They refuse. If I would have let it go on, she would have found an answer for everything, and I'd have been like sovereign citizen. And even if she read through the whole playbook, they will never admit that all their years of doing this is in vain. They wasted their time with the wrong people. They don't want to admit it. So they're going to double down and triple down, like you're saying here.
Oh, it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. It doesn't matter. You're not registered on the books as the beneficial owner. Those securities are being invested in by hedge funds. It's another side of those securities that you don't see. You're just looking at it. It created for me. It started for me. I should have it.
No, I don't feel like that at all. I just.
But it don't. But basically, what I'm telling you is, you knowing that it's not going to get you any type of monetary value because you're not the registered owner.
Well, then that's considered identity theft.
It's not, because the government allows it. This is how they operate off issuing securities backed by our accounts. That's how they operate. That's how they function. What? The government allows it. This is a battle you're not going to. It doesn't matter. That's how they operate. The government allows it. They've decreed it. They've deemed it. They're not letting you win that.
So if I made a purchase on eBay.
Created for me. It started for me. I should have it. You're not on the books. You're not getting dividends. You're not getting issued 1099.
But I am getting dividends because I'm getting an AT&T bill. So I am.
That's not a dividend. That's not how they look at dividend. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's not a dividend. That's a prime example. That's another sovereign citizen way of looking at it. That's how they look at it. A bill is credit. That's how they look at it. Shut down everything she said. But it's reality, though.
That's how they look.
But that's what they say. I'm not being funny. That's what they say. It's a bill of exchange. That's what they say.
Yeah, they do.
That's exactly what they say. That's exactly what they say.
I found the CUSIP on it. I know it's pooled.
It doesn't matter if you found the Dead Sea Scrolls in a bottle. It doesn't matter. You're not registered on the books as the beneficial owner. Those. I did not know this segment was so. I did not know this part was so goddamn funny. God damn. Securities are being invested in by hedge funds. It's another side of those securities that you don't see. You're just looking at it. It created for me. It started for me. I should have it.
No, I don't feel like that at all. I just.
But it don't. But basically, what I'm telling you is, you knowing that it's not going to get you any type of monetary value because you're not the registered owner.
Well, then that's considered identity theft.
It's not. She has no understanding of securitization. It's not no. She does not understand securitization. That's all of her response are lack of understanding of the system that she thinks she understands. This is why I said she only got like 5 to 10% down now. All that her understanding is based on sovereign citizen revisionist history. There's nothing in the rules, there's nothing in the regulations, there's nothing in the securities law that she can actually point to that supports her position. It's all sovereign citizen revisionist history theories. That's all her understanding is. Owner, those securities are being invested in by hedge funds. It's another side of those securities that you don't see. You're just looking at it. It created for me. It started for me. I should have it.
No, I don't feel like that at all. I just.
But it don't. But basically, what I'm telling you is, you knowing that it's not going to get you any type of monetary value because you're not the registered owner.
Well, then that's
Once it is,
considered identity theft.
it's not because the government allows it. This is how they operate off issuing securities backed by our accounts. That's how they operate. That's how they function. The government allows it. This is a
Unless
battle
you
you're not
catch
going to
it.
win with them. It doesn't matter. That's how they operate. The government allows it. They've decreed it. They've deemed it. They're not letting you win that.
So if I made a purchase on eBay with PayPal, okay?
Yeah.
And my PayPal receipt has a unique number, right? And that receipt, you find a CUSIP number based off of that unique number. It's a G20 number, right? There's a CUSIP attached to that. That was from 2005. Now I made a eBay payment in 2024. So we're talking back in 2005. There was a CUSIP, there's securities that was created back then that I found this year.
Okay.
That have been, what was it? Certain foundations that have been, what are you laughing at? There's a foundation that used the same CUSIP number on their taxes, the 940. And another company, I mean, it just goes on and on. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
Why are you laughing, homie? Look.
So you want to know why they filed their tax returns with that CUSIP number on it and you didn't?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Because they have the entitlements to it. They are allowed to. You're not. That's why. As simple as it can be.
I see.
They can do it. You can't.
It was a foundation.
They're the registered owners. They are entitled to those credits. You try to file it with the IRS, they're going to send you a 3176C stating that you're filing for credits you're not entitled to.
I'm going to go ahead and get my own CUSIPs.
See, all that went over her head. She's still going to try the sovereign citizen route. I'm going to go get my CUSIPs. I don't give a goddamn what you go get. I don't care if you go get the first skeletal remains of the first human in the world. It's not going to have any value. Doesn't mean nothing. CUSIP. You're not getting dividends from the CUSIP. You're not receiving money from the CUSIP. And just because you find the CUSIP, it doesn't mean anything. Those CUSIPs are the tracking for securities that was issued against your payments. Your payments are backing those securities in which hedge funds and other funds invest in. You're the payor. You're the one that you're the reason why they're getting paid. You're not about to jump into that fund and get paid while you're the one responsible for payment. Let's just say you do get the CUSIP, right? And you jump in the fund. How you going to get paid now? Because somebody got to pay in order for them to get paid. So if you stop paying on it, what does it mean? Because nobody's paying on it now. It's a worthless security now. They're going to close it down. It's nothing. It's over with. That's it. But that wouldn't be enough. Having your AT&T account closed out, that's not enough. They all want money.
And pretty much securities.
But you know,
Anybody
you
can do it.
you're a big girl. You're grown. But here's the thing,
No, I'm
though.
just saying with my corporation.
No,
you know what I mean?
Because that's what they all. But that's what the sovereign citizens want to do. That's
oh my
what
God.
they all.
They don't all have corporations, do they?
No.
That's what corporations do. They get a CUSIP number.
Okay, let me just make something. Everything that you're saying right now has been tried 25, 30 years ago and it didn't work. work. Bam. Let's just end it all. Let's just end it all with the hard truth reality. That's the truth. If I already tried it, already went about, it don't work. And the people with this mindset, they always believe they're going to be that one exception. They all believe it's going to work for them. Everything that she talked about was already tried, tested, and already shut down. It's the belief system that's going to keep them down those rabbit holes. She's wasting all this energy on Q-sips and this. She's not even looking at the picture she's supposed to be looking at. And that area is less time efficient than what she's going all across the board, because that's the sovereign citizen way. When you lack understanding, lack direction, you go all over the board trying to get a remedy, throwing anything at the wall, hoping it sticks, instead of focusing on this corner of the wall that pertains to you. Since they haven't identified that corner of the wall which pertains to them through study, research, patience, discipline, understanding, they're looking at the whole wall like, let me focus on this part here. I'll focus on here. And as they're moving through the wall, they skipped over the portion of the wall that applies to them because they don't have the understanding to see it, because they haven't done enough study and research. So they can't identify. So they're trying different aspects, throwing different shit at the wall, but the section that applies to them, they may throw something at it and don't even realize that, okay, I'm going to stay right here. They may throw one little thing at it, it bounce off, and then they'll keep going, not knowing, like, hold on, I need to stay right here. Nope. This is why I always go back to understanding. Once you have understanding, it eliminates a lot of that unnecessary stuff by default.
I'm not
Let's just say that. The most brilliant of us, it didn't work. It didn't work.
It's not about trying. It's about
it didn't
try.
That's why. They knew more. Yeah, but they don't. That's why.
That's why. See.
They can do it. You can't.
It was a foundation.
They're the register owners. They are entitled to those credits. You try to file it with the IRS, they're going to send you a 3176C stating that you're filing for credits you're not entitled to.
I'm going to go ahead and get my own Q-sips and create my securities.
But that's that. When she said, I'm going to get my Q-sips and create my securities, that comes from, this is just my next step to do, because I lack the understanding and knowledge of just focusing on what I need to do. That's the next step on her list, because she doesn't really don't really have the understanding to know that I don't need to be doing all that. All I need to be is focusing right here. But she hasn't done enough study and research, because she comes from a group-like, teacher-like, following templates, following instructions like setting, instead of a group-like setting where you're going over the regulations to get the understanding and the statutes, so you can start painting a realistic picture. Everything is file this, file that, do that, without understanding why you're even really doing it. But, do what you want. You're a big girl. You're grown. But here's the thing, though.
I'm just saying with my corporation.
No, that's what they all. But that's what the sovereign citizens want to do. That's what they all.
They don't all have corporations, do they?
No.
That's what corporations do. They get a Q-sip number.
Okay, let me just make something. Everything that you're saying right now has been tried 25, 30 years ago and it didn't work.
I'm not
Let's
trying.
just say that. I'm talking about the most brilliant of us. It didn't work. It didn't work.
It's not about trying. It's about.
It didn't work. You don't think they said all that?
No, you can call. I've talked to them on the phone.
They knew more. Yeah, but they don't know what you're.
No, I'm saying get my own Q-sip for my corporation. I'm not talking about
right. You know what they mean? You know what that means? 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 That means the corporate issued the stock with a Q-sip number on it, so you can file on your tax return.
That would be my corporation.
So your corporation, where's your assets to back it? You can't just issue stocks without assets to back it. You got to show that to the SEC. You got to have millions of dollars of assets to back it. Then they got to be registered. Then your registered agent has to file those documents. Then you got to pay that $5, $6, and sometimes $10,000 registration fee. You ain't got that type of money to step into that world. You was trying to get a Porsche with a purchase order with no money. You don't have the credentials to step in that world. Like, it's just so easy. I'm just going to issue my own certificates. Don't even know the regulations around them. This is what happens when you get bit by the sovereign citizen bug. Issue that stock. Was you saying that?
I'm saying I will be doing that myself.
You can't. So I'm trying to tell you, you can't. You can't. You don't have the authority to do so. You can't.
As a corporation?
You can't. You're not a corporation.
Period. You can't do
As
it
a
at all.
corporation, yes, I do.
You can't do it. It wasn't issued from their corporation to you. And you're not on the registered books as the beneficial owner. You're not.
I'm talking about a new QSIP.
It don't matter if you create a QSIP, it doesn't matter.
But I've called the QSIP. I called QSIP myself, and how can I inquire about it? I want a QSIP number.
Call Moses. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm gonna go get my QSIP number.
What I
Hey, crypto.
Just like you called Matt. You're not a corporation.
Period. You can't do
I'm
it
a
at all.
corporation, yes, I do.
She's, I called her. I'm just going to get a corporate. This is what she said. I'm a corporation. I'm just going to start issuing my own QSIPs. Where's your registration statement at? Where's your assets backing it? You have to show your assets, your balance sheet of liquid assets, not no fucking straw man trust fund account backing it. Where's the liquid assets in the in the reserve account? Where's it at? Where's your liquid assets at? Where they at? What class notes are you doing? What's backing them? Where's it at? She's talking out of her neck. All that shit is just theory. It sounds good until you put it on paper and get to execute it. You really think she's going to spend $10,000 to file that registration? Do you know how long those registration statements are? Those registration statements are hundreds of pages long. You think she's going to sit there and type up 300 to 400 pages registration statement? And then she has to have a market for her securities. You really think she's going to just her by herself step into that world? That's what I'm saying. They're looking at it from so much of a delusional standpoint. They don't even realize how far-fetched she sounded. She would have to create a corporation. I'm not saying she can't create a corporation. She would have to build up the capital, hire officers. The level of the corporation she needs to be on to even do that, that's Walmart. That's Credit Acceptance Corporation. That's JP Morgan Acquisition Corporation. That's that type of level. She does not have the assets. She doesn't have the collateral. She doesn't have the means. She don't even have the understanding of how to put a registration statement together. She has no knowledge of that field.
Ew.
You can't do it. It wasn't issued from their corporation to you. And you're not on the registered books as the beneficial owner. You're not.
I'm talking about a new QSIP.
It don't matter if you create a QSIP, it doesn't matter.
But I've called the QSIP. I called QSIP myself, and how can I inquire about it? I want a QSIP number.
Call Moses. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm gonna go get my QSIP number.
Hey, crypto.
Just like you called Matt, and he said one thing, and then you went to go execute. It was a totally different story. That's going to be the same thing. What?
Hey, crypto. What he's saying is he's not just telling you that to say that you're wrong because there's some ulterior motive. He's literally telling you it can't happen, no matter if you have a company. It just doesn't work that way at all. Period.
and I'm not trying to derail you or discourage you, but I'd say this because that's what I said. That's why I went back to the point I made earlier. You're only looking at it narrow-minded one way, regardless of the phone calls you make. Phone calls don't mean nothing.
Oh.
They don't mean nothing. I'm sorry, the phone calls don't mean nothing. They could tell you whatever they want to tell you. It don't matter. This I'm trying to get you understand. This I'm trying to get you understand. Phone calls don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean nothing.
You're on the phone with the CUSA.
It doesn't mean nothing
for you.
I'll put it in perspective like
let me say this. Before you go, let me say this. I got you. Let me say this. Phone calls don't mean nothing unless you have a written agreement with them, what allows you to issue a security backed by their QCs. Right. That's what Judy say. So I don't care about the phone call. Is it in writing? Did they have it in writing with saying we're going to allow crypto to issue QCs backed by whatever entitlement? Where's it at in writing? Where's it at in writing? If it's not in writing, it means nothing. They tell you everything over the phone. If you haven't read it in their own regulations, their own rules, where it's allowed, and you can show that to us evidence, or they got a written agreement with you, phone calls mean nothing. Or issue your own QSA backed by that QSA, which is backed by the security. You have nothing in writing.
I get it. Right. Go to the SEC. Yes, you have to. Yes, I get that. I understand. Totally.
But you have nothing in writing. Phone calls don't mean nothing.
No, I made a phone
call. Do you know? Let me say this.
I make phone calls to inquire just to get to understand.
I got you. But in order for you to get any type of proceeds, do you know their hedge funds are going to have to take a loss? Those investors are going to have to take a loss. You know that, right? And you know the sole purpose is to protect the investors. In order for you to get remedy, the investors have to take a loss. Do you know the backlash will come if the investors are taking a loss because you're getting your remedy? The investors can sue them for defrauding them.
I hear you.
So they're not going to give you any type of rhythm with anything associated with that CUSA. That is how the system works. And I need you, crypto, is to start looking at the situation in its totality instead of narrow-minded, your way, your vision, what you see, what you want, how you could do it. Look at it in the whole world. Because I'm going to tell you this. If you try to mimic those securities just because you feel it right, you have to, because you have a PayPal account and you got issued a deal.
I'm not trying to mimic. I'm just saying, why can't we play?
Because you can't. You're not in that world. Because we're not in that world. Okay. That's why.
I hear you.
That's why we got to know our position and play within
let's make our own worlds. Yeah.
Right. Now, your own world would be is if you're in a finance situation with them. Now you can play around with that. Yeah.
Now, another thing you can't do is your own government, state, and law. Now,
oh, God. Oh, God. Now you're the more American.
Listen,
North American.
For me to change, listen, for real, you know about my schools, right? I
told you. Go ahead.
Right. So for me to change any type of curriculum in a school, right, you have to have your own state government and law. You have to. I've done the research. So by that being, you could create your own securities, your own QSIPs, your own corporation, just like the United States did.
Right.
Something.
Like a charter.
Exactly.
Hey, crypto, if we ever go to war, I need to know where you're at so I can have you
I'm out of jurisdiction, baby. I'm out of jurisdiction. Listen. I told the postmaster.
God.
My vessel is in Hong Kong waters.
Hey, crypto. That Moore's sovereign citizen bug done crept up and bit you while you were sleeping. You woke up like, what the hell bit me? You went to sleep like, oh, to make a deposit. You woke up after you got bit. I want to take all my interest out of this business.
Yeah, hey, them teeth are sunk in deep. God.
All right. All right, y'all. Yeah. So thank you, Annie. So yeah, but that just goes to highlight how the sovereign citizen bug is crazy. That sovereign citizen bug will have you like that sovereign citizen bug, man. It's crazy how that sovereign citizen bug is. All right, that sovereign citizen bug is a mean one. It's a mean one, y'all, and you see it played out in real time. The effects of the sovereign citizen bug, even if you the effects is there, and the effects play out in their everyday transactions with these people. So, with that being said, I got some work to be done. And please tap in with me. Please be informed. Do not allow these people to sell you the banana in the tailpipe. Because I guarantee you one thing, it's always going to end the same. It's never going to be anything worth of value. It's always going to be wasted steps, wasted motions, waste of your time, money, resources, and everything. Oh shit, Famous Nova, you could have hopped on that panel, broski. My bad. Because I had my phone doing other things. So if you was trying to get online, my fault. But I'll open the panel next time. Until next time, be informed. Get rid of the sovereign citizen bug. That bug is a dangerous one. It's infectious.